Hi, this is Lori Walljasper, and in this video, we're going to talk about variable length subnet masks, or VLSM for short. You know we always talk in acronyms. By now you should already know how to use classical subnetting. We use that in Lori's circle shortcut. Classical subnetting is by far the easiest method, but you may have seen it can be pretty wasteful of addresses. In steps VLSM to the rescue by allowing you to use different subnet masks on different subnets to better utilize addresses. So let's get started with some examples. I use the table method, but just know that there are other methods such as the box method and the circle method. Use whatever works best for you. So fasten your seatbelts as we take your subnetting skills to the next level with VLSM.
So the first thing that we want to do is just look at the diagram, and we want to find the largest network first. So we're going to look here. We have 12, 27, 18, and this one, look at this. It's a little bit special because we have just one router, but we have two switches. So this is really only one network with 13 hosts. And then this one, same thing. We have one router with two switches, and so we have 8 plus 6, which is 14. So this is just one network. So then we've got one with 18 here. So you can see that I'm looking all around, and I want to start with the highest one. So that would be 27, followed by 18. Then we have 14. Then we have 13. Then we have 12. So that's how I want to attack this. And then the WAN addresses are going to be, there's two. There's an address here, and there's an address here. So those are going to be the /30, and I'll explain that in a second. So I've taken and just made a little table here, and I certainly am only doing this for explanation purposes. I do not do this when I'm subnetting. I'm just doing this to try to make it clear for you. This table is going to help us get organized. So you see from the diagram, I just simply took the 27 hosts, 18, here's that 14 hosts, 13, 12, and then my WAN addresses, and I've just laid them out in that order, and that just kind of helps me get organized. Again, I do not do this unless I'm explaining something. I do it much more quickly and casually when I'm when you get the hang of this, you'll be doing that too. So the very first thing is I'm going to grab my table, and here comes the table. And if you look at the table, we've got at the top it says the different hosts that I can have. And when you're looking at this, always take two away, because when you're thinking about this, it's kind of one's for the network address, one address is for the network address, one address is for the broadcast address, so it's really the ones in between that I can use for my host. So just kind of remember that. Sometimes they try to trick you on that question. So I have 27 hosts that I need, so I just kind of doodle across the top, and I see, okay, 27, 16 isn't enough. Okay, so right here, this is the one I'm going to start. So I'm going to just circle that, because that's the one I'm going to start with. And so I'm going to transfer that. It starts at 0. I'm going to transfer that to 0. So I'm going to put /27 at the top for my CIDR number. And so I have 24 is just a regular old Class C default subnet mask, because 8 times 3 is 24. And then 3 more. So I'm really borrowing 3 bits on this one, if you care. All right. So I'm going to go down to 18, but before I do that, I'm going to say, okay, I used this one, so I can't use any of these addresses. Okay, they're gone, because I've already used them. So the next thing is 18 hosts. Again, I'm in this same column. I'm going to circle that. I'm going to put 32 there. And then I'm going to say still the same column. Okay, down to 14 hosts. Look at what here. Oh, forgot to cross these out. Can't use any of those. Now I'm down to 14 hosts, and I can use this column. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to use this number to start out with. So that's 64. And the column I was under was /28 for my CIDR number. There we go. Next is 13 hosts. So I'm going to come down to this one right here. On my form up here, I'm going to put .80, and I'm still in that /28 column. So I'm going to move that up. Cross these out. Can't use those anymore. And then this one has 12, which again, we're right down here. 96 /28. And now I'm on my WAN addresses. So again, we'll cross out these that have already been used. You can color them, you can do whatever you want. So now we're coming down here, and remember I said the /30, and here's why. It says you have 4 hosts. Again, one address here is the network address, one's the broadcast address. So you really have 2 addresses that you can assign to those 2 places in the original diagram. So here is that WAN address, you can see I have 2 addresses that I need to assign. So this /30 is going to work just fine for us, and we're just going to pick the next one on the list. So the next one on the list is 112, so 112 here, and then it's /30. Next one on the list after 112, we did that one, is 116. Cross that one off the list. Then we have 120. We're going to cross that one off the list. And then we have 124. And we're going to cross that one off the list. All that's left is to transfer these back into our diagram, and we have completed the problem.
Now that you know the table method, let's see how you can do it without a table just by knowing Lori's circle shortcut.
Okay, so now we're going to take the table away. The table is a crutch, but you know what? It's really good to have. You can do things quickly. Now, let's say you're sitting down for the CCNA exam and you don't have that table. What are you going to do? Well, here comes Lori's circle shortcut table again. I know I'm going to have to do subnetting. I'll probably have to do variable length subnetting. So I always put this table down. And just to review, I put the powers of 2 across the top. I put what they equate to. And again, you don't have to know how to do exponentiation. You do have to kind of know that 2 to the 0 is 1 and 2 to the first power is 2. But then you just double it. Well, actually, you double it right there too. Double, when 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 is 8, 8 and 8 is 16, and keep doubling. Okay, so really, you don't even do exponents. For the subnetting table, I took my 128, add 64 to that, got 192, add 32 to that to get 24, and so on. So that's going to give me my subnet mask. But the CIDR number, I just added that. And the CIDR number is how many bits have you really borrowed. So this one, I've really borrowed 1 bit, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how many I count from the left when I start borrowing bits. So when I borrow 1 bit, that's 25, because in my subnet mask, that's the number of bits that are on, because I have 255, 255, 255 as a default. So that's 24 bits right there. 1 more is 25. So I have 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And you know what? I'm not doing anything here. Why? Because I don't have enough addresses. I have to have 4, because 4 is the minimum. I have a network address, I have a broadcast address, and then I have 2 places to put for my WAN. So /30 is as far as I go. I can't borrow these 2 last bits. All right? Does that make sense now? Hope so. So I've got this table out, and then if I want to go into the Class B license, all I do is I extend the table. So I just, now it's to the 8th, to the 9th, but again, I'm not really doing those exponents because, I don't think they still give you a calculator for the CCNA. So I just double it. 128 doubled, 256, 512, and so on, okay? Again, I can put the CIDR numbers down too, and that's going to affect the 3rd octet. Okay, if you want more about a Class B license using variable length subnet masking or Class A, just put something in the comments below and I'll get a video out for you on that. So let's now do our problem and just quickly figure out how we're going to do that from, based on this. So here's how we started out. So here's how we started out with our subnetting, and how do we get these numbers? Okay, so first of all, we know we're starting with this network address, okay? And when I want to start out, I'm going to start out with that number. I needed 27 hosts. So the first thing I've decided, I need 32 hosts because that's the number closest to 27 that will accommodate that. So I know that I have you, and I kind of keep a running total. So I would say, okay, so now you've just did 0 through 31, so now you're at 32. So I kind of have 0, 32, so now that's crossed out, and I know I can start here. So 0 through 31 is gone. And then I need, for the next one, I need 18 hosts. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to say, okay, 18, okay, still no. So I'm still at this one, and again, I'm still at the /27. So I'm going to use that next one. So I just did 32 there. So another 32 onto that is 64, and whoop, that's gone. So then I'm going to start with 64 for the next one. And I need to figure out, okay, so this one has 14 hosts, so I know at 14 hosts I can come and say, oh, here, so I'm going to use /28 for that, and then I'm only going to go up 16 here on this last one here. So if I add 16 to that, I have 80. So the next place that I start on is 80. So here we go, starting on 80. So do you see how you can really do it? I think I'm a real visual person, so I think it takes a tad bit longer if I don't have the table. If I'm doing variable length subnet masking, I'm pulling out that table and here I go. But if I don't have the table, I am making my own subnet table here, and here I go. Again, sneaking onto the class B, if I need more hosts for subnet, then I'm going to look here to see what I need. Again, if you want any more information on Class B or Class A variable length subnet masking, leave me in the comments in the area below, and I hope this helped you really embrace that variable length subnet masking is efficient. It's actually kind of fun.